John 9. As Jesus passed by, he saw a man who had been blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus replied, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. We must do the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world." After saying this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and applied it to the man's eyes. He told him, "Go, wash in the pool of Siloam," which means sent. So the man went and washed, and came back seeing. His neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging asked, "Isn't this the man who used to sit and beg?" Some claimed he was. Others said, "No, he only looks like him." But he himself insisted, "I am the man." "How then were your eyes opened?" they asked. He replied, "The man they called Jesus made mud and anointed my eyes. He told me, 'Go to Siloam and wash.' So I went and washed, and then I could see." "Where is he?" they asked. "I don't know," he answered. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now the day Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was a Sabbath. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. "He put mud on my eyes," the man replied, "and I washed, and now I see." Some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath." But others asked, "How can a sinner perform such signs?" So there was division among them. Then they turned again to the blind man. "What do you say about him, since he opened your eyes?" He replied, "He is a prophet." They still did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. "Is this your son, the one you say was born blind? How then can he now see?" they asked. His parents answered, "We know he is our son, and we know he was born blind. But how he can now see, or who opened his eyes, we do not know. Ask him. He is of age. He will speak for himself." His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders, who had already decided that anyone who acknowledged Jesus as the Christ would be put out of the synagogue. That was why his parents said, "He is of age. Ask him." A second time they summoned the man who had been blind. "Give glory to God by telling the truth," they said. "We know this man is a sinner." He replied, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I do not know. One thing I do know, I was blind, but now I see." Then they asked him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered, "I have told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too?" Then they hurled insults at him and said, "You are this fellow's disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses, but as for this man, we do not even know where he comes from." The man answered, "Now that is remarkable. You do not know where he comes from, yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners. He listens to the godly person who does his will. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." To this they replied, "You were steeped in sin at birth. How dare you lecture us?" And they threw him out. Jesus heard that they had thrown him out, and when he found him, he asked, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" He answered, "Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him?" Jesus said, "You have both seen him, and he is the one speaking with you." Then the man said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshipped him. Jesus said, "For judgment I have come into this world, so that the blind may see, and those who see may become blind." Some of the Pharisees who were with him heard this, and asked, "Are we blind too?" Jesus said, If you were blind, you would not be guilty of sin, but now that you claim you can see, your guilt remains.